Hello, good evening, Speed Gaming fans. My name is Jupiter Climb, and I'm going to be commentating this great Aria race between Fuse and Solon. So, a lot just happened at the start here. Let me start by talking a little bit about the settings, then we'll talk a little bit about the players. So, the settings we have for the upcoming tournament, as well as the weekly races we're going to be doing, are Shop Sanity, Area Shuffle, and Boss Shuffle. So at the start, we saw both players pick up some good stuff from the shops. And they're going to make their way around the castle looking for a few different things. As you can see, Fuse went to the left here. Excuse me, Solon went to the left here and found the chapel. That is normally not where you find the chapel location. So all of the area connection points are mixed up. Randomizer is to get the true ending. That involves finding 3 specific souls scattered across the castle. There's a red soul, a blue soul, and a yellow soul that you need to equip before the Gram fight. And the way we're going to figure that out is by finding 3 books. Those are scattered anywhere. They're randomized, they're not in logic. And they're going to tell us exactly what souls we need to get to the final couple areas. Okay, so already we see a pretty big divergence, with Fuse tackling Manticore a little bit early. Fuse is actually the creator of this new randomizer. It's got a whole bunch of new features added compared to the old one from a few years back. And Solon is one of the OGs of Aria randomizer play. He's been doing this for a long time, so it should be a great race. 2 top runners here. Now, as far as what's randomized, all the weapons and item drops, including soul drops, are all randomized. So we might find a claim at the start. There is some waiting going on, so that sort of thing is a little less likely to happen. But for the most part, anything can be anywhere. And early on, we're going to be looking for some kind of progression. Solon, for example, has found the Flying Armor Soul. Fuse is going to be looking for either that or Malphus, which is the double jump ability. So Go mode in this game is defined. You need all 3 of the key souls for the true ending. You need Skula, which lets you move underwater. And you need some form of flight. And then when we play with Area Randomizer, you also have to find the top floor. And that can sometimes be hard to do. But top floor is where the Gram fight is located. And you also have to find Garden. So those are 2 kind of area Go mode checks you need to have before you can finish the game. So not a whole lot there for Solon. Let's see if Fuse has any better luck in the chapel. Seeing a question in chat, are the souls random? Yes. So the canisters that we find, those are going to have random souls, and enemies drop random souls as well. It's random per enemy type. So for example, if Axe Armor drops a Bat Soul, all Axe Armors will drop that Bat Soul. So we see that Fuse just caught attention. The Book Soul, the yellow book with the yellow soul. He's not able to get that yet. Ooh, but great find. Okay. So this gamble for Fuse might have just paid off. That's very early flight. Now he's going to be able to go back up, check out that book. Poison Worm, okay. So you'll notice there was a name, and then there was a second name in parentheses. One of the really cool things about the new randomizer is grinding for souls, much like in the vanilla game, is now a viable strategy. The name that's in the brackets, that will tell you what enemy actually drops the soul you're looking for. So if you wanted to get Poison Worm, you could grind that enemy or try to find it. There will always be a canister so you never have to grind. But sometimes that can be a pretty big-brained play. If you want to take a shortcut. Alright, so Fuse is going way off the beaten path. Early Reservoir can be dangerous. Solon is taking a more traditional route here. Alright, seems like I'm a little bit ahead, so I think I've gotten that fixed now, thanks to chat. So apologies for spoiling, hopefully now we're back in tune with the runners here. So there are duplicates. Right there on the left, Fuse just found a second copy of the Yellow Book. Anything that's really important, you know, Black Panther, Hippogriff, some kind of flight, books, backdash, there's a 50-50 chance that a duplicate will be placed somewhere else in the castle. And that's to prevent, you know, one check making a big difference between racers. So if someone happens to find something important early, there's a pretty good chance the competitor will be able to catch up somewhere else in the castle. Okay, so Fuse finds top floor. He could choose to go up there, but elects not to for now. I think that makes sense. It's a dangerous play with his current equipment. For Solon. That's a bit of a bummer. That's kind of an out-of-the-way check. Certain runners will choose to reset out, but it looks like Solon's going to keep what he found. So typically, these randomizers will last somewhere between an hour to an hour and a half, I would say, is the estimate. They can go longer. For example, Black Panther, which is kind of Aria's equivalent of the boots in Link to the Past. That can make a big difference depending on how early that's found, if it's found at all. So far, not a whole lot of speed movement. Heading down to the study. This is a bit of a gamble, actually, because if you don't find some form of slide, whether that's the slide soul or the giant bat soul, you can actually get trapped at the bottom and have to make a long backtrack up out. Nice. Solon finds Great Armor, which is the worst blue soul in the game. That description, raising strength by 120%, is not accurate. It's a lie. It actually raises by a mere 20%, and it's got a very high MP cost, so... Unless that's a book-required soul, typically not very helpful. Great Armor 100% useless, I see a question in chat. Well, I have used it before, but it really is a situation where only if you have nothing else at all to use your MP on, then maybe you pull it out. Yeah, situationally good is how I would describe it. Okay, so Fuse uses Flight to get double jump. Not needed at this point, but it's going to make navigation a whole lot easier. Okay, so I mentioned this earlier about how the new Rando likes to put similar items across different points in the castle. That right there is a great example. So Fuse finds Hippogriff, and now Solon has found Giant Bat. Suddenly it's kind of evened up a little bit. Hard to tell because of the divergence. But that's exactly what Solon wants, because now we can head to the left a little bit later on and take a peek at what this next area is. Very nice. The first two bosses of the game, Creaking Skull and Manticore, we've seen both of those fights. Those are always vanilla. But all of the other bosses between Great Armor all the way up through Legion and Balor, those are all randomized. So as Solon heads into the boss room here in a little bit, this could be anything. And if he gets a bad draw and pulls, for example, Legion, that could be a very difficult fight. But Skula is a great find. Really nice for Solon. That's going to let him explore anything underwater, which pretty much opens up the second half of the castle. Okay, so Death I think is going to be manageable, but it's also going to be tough. Death hits pretty hard. Nice use of Giant Bat to escape the corner. Yeah, you can see it's going to be, 3 more hits? Solon have any healing items? Nah, just gonna reset out. Okay. I think that's fair. There's only one check behind that boss, so I think this is a totally fine gamble. Oh, looks like he's gonna go back. Okay, playing it safe. Normally that area is a little bit more valuable, the study boss, because Hammer is behind it. But with the shop sanity settings, Hammer's already unlocked, so it's just the one check. Solon might also be interested in just picking up Skula again and heading back out. That might be the play. Fuse has found the cemetery. This is a dead end. Doesn't lead to anything else, but it does have a number of checks. So both of our runners so far have had issues with defense. All Rock Suit is one of the better pieces of armor in the game, so that is a fantastic upgrade for Fuse. Bad luck for Solon on the area transition. Let's see what he tries next. Just gonna head up? Okay. See Death later, perhaps. Meanwhile, Fuse making great use of the cats. Those cut right through the armor. That's actually a very useful soul. A fun one to use, of course. That's a nice find for Fuse. So, in terms of moving faster, what you really want is Black Panther. But this Gravekeeper Backdash Soul is the second best. And Fuse is quite good. That's using backdashes to improve his speed. So we'll see some of that. Like many Castlevanias, backdashing is the faster form of movement compared to just walking left or right. Potential for Fuse, but a couple of nice pickups. I think he'll probably be happy with that. This Ripper room is low-key one of the tougher rooms to escape alive, even with good armor. You can get comboed left and right. Alright, Solon using the Giant Bat to get that Batlock check for a pretty decent armor upgrade. I would say the War Fatigues are kind of a middle-of-the-road armor. So definitely better than the leather armor he was using. They also have a small strength increase. Since both runners have flight, both runners have a lot of choices about which areas they want to check next. So I think the route divergence is going to continue. Solon might be doing the Skula check at the bottom right here. That typically leads in the vanilla game to Eastern Reservoir. And that would make sense, he just found Skula. Might as well see what it opened up. Oh, he might be doing Dance Hall instead, huh? Okay. So Solon's going to be going to do the same checks that Fuse did at the start of the seed. So he will soon find Hippogriff. Generally speaking, I think most players, if they had to choose, would prefer Hippogriff over Giant Bat. Hippogriff, you just press a button. You don't have to equip anything, so you can use something else in the blue soul slot. And it doesn't use MP, which is nice. However, having both is actually great. They synergize pretty well. For example, if you use Hippogriff to do a high jump, you can cancel that with the bat. So there's a whole lot of combos you can do. Having both is excellent. So I think Solon will appreciate having Giant Bat as well as Hippogriff. That fight obviously went a lot easier for Solon, thanks to his equipment. And let's see where Fuse chooses to go next. So Fuse has not yet found Skula, meaning he won't be able to explore this area from this entrance. However, he can activate the warp and come back later. There's a room a couple rooms ahead that's waterlocked, so it'll be a dead end for now. Long coming up on Hippogriff and the Yellow Book. See what Fuse finds beneath the waterfall. Okay, Kicker Skeleton is actually pretty nice. See, does he want to head left here? Okay. So Kicker Skeleton plus backdashing is actually a little bit faster than just backdashing alone. I know that's some movement tech Fuse has been working on, so we'll see a little bit of that probably. Dive Kick also has some uses in dodging enemy attacks in certain situations. It's pretty good. Just a knife for Fuse. And let's see. I think there's something that Solon wants, so let's see why he's backtracking here. Gonna warp out. So at this point, we're still looking for the red book and the blue book, and I don't think either runner has found Poison Worm, which is the required yellow soul. They may have one or both of the other two. We'll have to see. And Fuse at least does know where top floor is. I don't believe either runner's found Garden, but that's the other required area check. So still a ways to go, anybody's match. I'd say we're about maybe a little under a third of the way done. But some early book luck or a Panther in the next couple of minutes could really make this a zip seed. While these runners are navigating the castle, I'm going to share some news which I'm sure everybody in the chat is aware of, but in case there are a few who are not, some very exciting news about Aria. This game, along with Circle the Moon and Harmony of Dissonance is likely going to be coming sometime in the near future to modern consoles. Castlevania Advance Collection was rated in Australia, and it seems like M2 is going to be doing the port, which is exciting. So it feels like this Rando tournament, which is going to be happening in July, couldn't have come at a better time. We've also got a speed gaming tournament for this in, I believe, November. So yeah, lots more Aria to come. And once again, I'll go ahead and plug the link, the new Rando, for anyone who would like to check that out. Okay, so some bad luck for Solon. He found top floor, but this is a dead end. So, with top floor there are 3 entrances. This is the one of the 3 you can't actually access top floor from. It's only an exit. Finds the regular entrance to Clock Tower. Now we'll be able to explore this almost all the way. There are 2 checks that are still going to be waterlocked, but the rest he'll be able to clear out. And okay, big Gollum. This fight is actually surprisingly tough, depending on the pattern you get, but he's got a nice opener here. This boss has got... Ooh, nice use of the cats. Yeah, this boss has got, I believe, 1400 HP, so rather bulky. That was a quick fight. Onikiri is not a great reward for the boss, but it's actually pretty good. It double hits, and it's got a decent attack arc. So, yeah, no surprise if he's equipped that over the Kaiser Knuckle. There is something I want to foreshadow a little bit. This game has a reputation of having, kind of medium difficulty. And if you go online and read people's comments on the difficulty of the final fight, for example, most people will say it's pretty straightforward. Because this is a randomizer, and because it's a race, both runners are going to be at quite a low level for the final few fights. Meaning that having good armor and a good weapon, and ideally some good souls to back those up, is really important here. Deaths in this randomizer are not at all uncommon. So any kind of top tier armor upgrade or sword upgrade is going to be a great find. So far it's been kind of middle of the road. All Rocks is pretty good, not the best. So they'll still be looking for more. Suddenly Fuse is really pulled ahead now. Black Panther is the speed soul. As you can see, it dramatically increases movement. And it doesn't use a whole lot of MP, so runners can pretty much just hold that R button. Now there's a 50-50 shot that a duplicate of Panther is going to be somewhere else in the castle. So hopefully Solon either comes here soon or finds a duplicate elsewhere. If not, Fuse might pull ahead with a slight lead. Fuse opting not to fight Balor. That's a tough fight. Balor hits very hard, so I think that's understandable. And with Panther, it's quick to come back later. Okay, so Solon after that death is now heading to Forbidden. This area is tough to navigate, and this is actually one of the spots you'd rather have Giant Bat over Hippogriff. As you can see, you can kind of hug the ceiling and dodge a lot of these enemies. So we'll see what Solon finds here. In the old Rando, the one we used to use a few years back, this area was notoriously stacked. You would almost always find one or two awesome checks, just based on the way it was weighted. In the new Rando, it's kind of 50-50. Sometimes it's okay, sometimes it's not so good. Feels a little bit like Super Metroid Crocomire, where it's tempting, but it's a big time investment for not that many checks, and often it doesn't pay out. Alright, so Fuse is also going to pick up the Giant Bat. But it makes me wonder, we really have not found many books. They might both be in top floor. We might have a stacked top floor seed. Just a steel plate for Solon in the first check. There's one more in Forbidden. Coming up for Fuse, the Onikiri weapon's actually going to be pretty good. Death is relatively easy to double hit, thanks to the large hitbox. Interesting, okay. So I was kind of hoping for Solon's sake there was a duplicate Panther, but Devil, that's our first Rush Soul. These are some of the very best souls in the game, arguably the best for combat. So he'll definitely want to hang on to that. It could also be the required blue soul for this seed. So a pretty nice find. Just to explain what those are, those Rush Souls transform Soma into a demon. It uses up a lot of MP, but it can deal significant damage if timed correctly. It's kind of the best way to kill most of the later bosses. So we'll see if Solon opts for that kind of strat or something different, but it's a nice option to have for sure. Use of Kioma Demon. That's pretty MP intensive, but it grants invincibility. So a nice way to clear that hallway. Alright, Fuse should be getting close to the end of the death fight here. We'll take a look at what's in the hammer room. So Solon does find Garden, that's huge, and we'll see if there are any books here. I think the only areas left to check, unless I'm missing one, it's Garden, top floor, and then I don't think either runner has found or explored the arena. And that one's got quite a few checks as well. Is the random soul drop from death. That can be useful. It's some impromptu healing. Can be good on the final fight. And just some milk behind death. Nothing great, but I'm sure Fuse appreciates the experience, at least, that he got from the death fight. Some of the later bosses, especially Balor and Legion, give a lot of experience, and considering how dangerous the endgame can be, those extra levels can help a lot. Does find the arena. There are a couple of checks here. Excuse me, there's actually just one check here that's bat locked or slide locked, but Fuse does have access to that, so he'll be able to full clear this area on the first go. Oh, do we have a red book? I was focused on Fuse. I'm not sure I caught what that red book was, but it looks like we're now 2 for 3 on books. One left. Hey. So behind the giant skeleton, Fuse finds our first required soul. So there's Poison Worm. The way it works is before you deal the last hit to Graham Phase 1, you've got to make sure all 3 souls are equipped. But you don't actually have to use them for the rest of the fight. That's a common misconception, so you can use whatever you want, then switch over for the last couple hits, and then switch back. So Poison Worm, for example, not so useful. I think Fuse is going to keep that in reserve until he needs it. Now here we're going to use a skip. This is not actually a glitch. That wall Fuse just flew through is not programmed all the way to the top. There's a 1-tile empty gap. So this is a glitchless rule set, but that skip is allowed. Okay, so Fuse sees Legion and decides, let's bail. Can't blame him. That's by far the longest fight in the game. At least for the optional ones, or the ones that aren't necessarily required. Backdash duplicate. Past the worst room in the game for Fuse. Yeah, this room really is a not like this moment. We call it the worst room in the game for a reason. It's rough. And we got some gold armor behind the wrecking ball. Despite what it looks like, that's actually a downgrade from what Fuse has already got, so no reason to hold on to it. Alright, so it looks like Fuse is going to gamble and not take a peek past Legion. I think that's the right call. I think it's a smart gamble. There are plenty of checks left, including the entire top floor, so no reason to commit just yet. The Aria Randomizer tests is the ability of players to remember which areas connect with other areas. You know, I play this rando myself, and I can tell you on countless occasions I have gotten in go mode or near go mode and just completely forgot the castle's layout. It's very common. So there might be a little bit of trial and error to get back to places like top floor or like garden. Definitely makes the castle feel like a maze, the way all the areas are shuffled around. Some gym clothes at the top of the Manticore room. The second worst piece of equipment in the whole game, next to the starting shirt. So, not good. Not worth much. But at this point, we actually are nearing a full castle clear. Still a few places left to check. There's the eastern part of the reservoir, which neither player has gone to yet. And there's top floor. But I believe that's it. There are also a couple of checks in the quarters neither player has had access to because they're locked with... you need something called a Galamoth soul to get past the Time Bunny. Oh, that's so good for Solon. Okay, taking a look at Fuse's screen here. He just found a Panther duplicate, and Solon is right here. So if Solon heads to the bottom left, that's really gonna close the difference here for the runners. He's heading that way. Looks promising. I believe it was Solon who found Red Book. To be honest, I actually didn't catch it, so I'm still not sure what the soul is. But it seems like it was in the garden. Very nice. Great call from Solon. Now we've got both racers with Panther. Solon's going to have to make a few risky plays and a few predictions to catch up. But yeah, this is definitely a race again. Gargoyle in this is actually a yellow soul. Oh, Death's Robe. Very nice. Okay, so Death's Robe is arguably the best piece of armor in the whole game. It has really good defensive improvement, but it also boosts intelligence. Intelligence, the way it works in this game, any blue soul that you use, intelligence increases the damage. And because the best souls are blue souls, that's really what you want most of the time. Now, if you find a Claim, or a Final Sword, or an Excalibur, then a strength build can be the best, but a safe call is Int being useful for the final fights. So very lucky for Fuse. Oh, speaking of good weapons, Positron Rifle. That is a boss rush exclusive, which is in the randomization pool. And that does triple hit damage. Fire Elemental, very strong, very good. And got some good range. Okay, so Solon now has all 3 books. Looks like Fuse is heading down here as well. So Fuse has got plenty of great gear, but Solon might actually be able to catch up here. Fight for Solon. This is not an easy fight. I think he's got the gear to handle it pretty comfortably, but I think especially the 3rd phase can cause some problems. Tough to hit, can do poison. Nice Arc Demon for Fuse. It's a pretty nice soul. Anytime you get hit, it'll refill a pretty big chunk of Soma's MP bar. So most players would consider that one of the better yellows. Curious what Fuse is going to buy here at the Hammer Shop. He's got great weapon, great armor. Does he want a soul? Does he want healing? Okay, so he's going for some healing. Hello, souls here. Yeah, I like that call. So we picked up Iron Gollum. Bunch of strawberries. And some grapes. Okay. So Iron Golem is a really nice soul to have. Basically, when you have it equipped, nothing will cause you knockback. You can just walk or dash past enemies, and you'll still take damage, but you'll suffer no recoil. So it's a great little speed soul. Solon and Minotaur is a pretty good pickup. For Tear of Blood. Tear of Blood is probably like the 4th or 5th best accessory. It's really good for defense, but typically we value other things a little bit more, so it's solid, but we're really looking for either the Black Belt accessory, which is the best strength booster, or the Rune Ring accessory, which doubles MP restoration. So those two are kind of the S tier accessories. I would say Tear of Blood is an A tier accessory. Hard for me to say who's ahead. Solon's got the book advantage. Fuse has got the check advantage, and now he's going to go to Eastern. Ooh, Gungnir. I don't think Fuse is... So Gungnir's good. Not as good as Positron, but a little easier to use. So he might flip back and forth. Hello, reds for Solon. Interesting. Okay, so Fuse finds Galamoth in Eastern. There are 2 checks behind what we call the Time Bunny in the quarters. There's a room where a bunny with a giant clock will freeze time and kick you out. But if you have the Galamoth soul, you can get past. There have been many seeds I have seen where that is the difference maker. Someone gets Galamoth early, does the check, and there's something crucial there. We'll see if that's true here, but it's always interesting to get Galamoth. Looks like nothing much else, though. Just Galamoth here. Actually, I might have spoken too soon. Final Guard is quite good. And depending on what the blue book is, I actually missed that. That one could be required, we'll have to see. Is pointing out something very interesting. Solon actually has the Chronomage Soul. Now, normally in the vanilla game you have to have Galamoth, then you can farm the Time Bunny Soul by, killing it over and over. But since this is a rando, you can get that beforehand. You can actually use the Chronomage Soul instead of Galamoth to get those checks. So it's a little bit out of logic, but it can be a great shortcut. So we'll see if Solon goes for that. But so, oof. Yep, Valor is bulky. We're gonna have to find something a little bit stronger, I think. Fine for Fuse. I'm not sure he's gonna go for it, but Lubricant is probably the best stat increasing Yellow Soul in the game. The way it works, the lower your HP, the more your stats go up all around the board. So that could be nice. Meanwhile, Solon is having some problems here, and this is why Boss Shuffle can be pretty scary. Not the best equipment for this. This is a tough fight. $2,000 HP per phase. This is going to be a little bit under 100 hits for Solon. He's going to check this red book. Let's see what's required here. Bifron. Okay, so they do have that. So Fuse is blue book away from go mode. Solon's hanging tough here. It'll take some time, but looks like he's en route to a victory, and he's going to get a lot of experience from this fight. So Fuse finds the dead end, but with Panther it should be a quick backtrack. Meanwhile, you'll see the damage has gone up substantially for Balor Phase 2. Much lower defense stat for the left eye. Or I should say for the right eye versus the left eye. Fuse consulting the map. Well, I like that switch to Kaiser Knuckle for Solon. Smart call. Because of the lower defense of the second eye, it's often better to switch to a weaker but multi-hit weapon. You can rack up more damage that way. Okay, good fight. Solon is using the Chrono Mage skip. Let's see if this play was worth it. Rune Ring and Undine. So not bad, actually. Rune Ring is, again, it's an S-tier accessory. It's one you always want to find if you can. But it looks like nothing essential. We already know the Yellow Soul is Poison Worm, so it's not going to be that one. So Fuse still debating his options here. He's just got to get that blue book, and I believe it was back in Dance Hall, right? We'll have to see. We got these clock tower underwater checks. Slide is not so helpful at this point. Can be good for dodging actually on the final couple bosses. But I expect if he doesn't find anything here, he'll reset out. Oh, interesting. He's gonna hang on the slide, okay. Big Gollum fight from Solon there. Really smart use of Bifron plus Kaiser Knuckle. Excellent play. A high five here. Honestly, considering all the divergence, I think this is like the first high five in the last hour. Feels like there have been two totally different routes to the castle. And at this point, we've basically approached a full castle clear. Wow, nice random Stolas drop for Fuse. Fuse's lead, his check lead, has slowly evaporated here. Solon is definitely caught up. At this point, I would say it's pretty much neck and neck. It's whoever makes the right call next. And yeah, an interesting comment in chat. Fuse did opt to skip the Legion fight in the arena. That could be an interesting play for Solon. If and when he chooses to return to the arena. Now I have seen Fuse do what's called the SEMO strat, where you have 2 of the books, and you know 2 of the souls, but you're a little lost, or you don't want to spend the time looking for a 3rd one, so you gamble, and you guess on the final soul. The way it works in this updated rando, you got a 1 in 6 shot. There are 6 canisters for each soul type. 5 of them are decoys, 1's the real one. So Fuse could opt to guess, but actually he might be making the right call here. Going back to full clear dance hall. This right here is for GBA. Shopping trip for Solon. I'm guessing, yeah, we're gonna get some healing. And it looks like he's happy with that. Okay. Yeah, Solon selling the Rune Ring is an interesting call, but claim in the shop, it's understandable why that is. So it looks like the expanded shop actually added claim. When you beat Headhunter and when you beat Death, those 2 boss fights, new items get added to the shop. If you got claim, you don't really have to worry about MP so much. This is the best sword in the game. Even if Fuse pulls ahead a little bit now, and it gets the blue book and wraps up Graham first, having the claim is going to be a very nice advantage. Fuse might want to go back and pick that up for himself. Fuse to take on Balor. Fuse has much better equipment than Solon did a little bit earlier in the race, so this should be pretty quick. We'll see what setup he opts for. Hover in place. It's a really nice play on Balor. It can be pretty helpful, especially on the second phase. On phase 2, you can just hover in the air and whack Balor as many times as needed and not worry about taking damage. Okay, so it looks like Solon is going to head back down to the arena, I think. He was here at the end of the study. But first, a death fight, and if you would like to see a demonstration of Claim's power in action, here it is. Take a look at how quick this fight is. This sword auto-cancels its holy damage. It's got insane stats. There's phase 1. This is the ultimate reward, the ultimate sword in the vanilla game. So to find it in a rando, it's quite rare and very useful. Solon speedrunning the death fight, I would say. And there we go. Fuse putting Medusa Head to great use with that hover. Poor Balor is helpless. Okay, so here Solon is going to pick up the yellow soul. Yeah, we're still not sure about what the blue book said. Hopefully find that out soon. But I suspect, given the fact that they've traversed the entire castle at this point, that in a few moments here, Solon's going to be in go mode. Hopefully Solon goes up first. But this is a 50-50, so you can't blame him either way. Okay, going down first, I think that totally makes sense. You got 3 checks down here. But he'll come up disappointed. Actually, maybe not. I had forgotten. Solon did not pick up that first Gravekeeper, so that's not a duplicate for Solon. He's not going to need it for a whole lot, because he does have the claim. But there are situations where having that backdash can be useful. So not a bad find. I think this check at the bottom here was not so good. We'll get a second look at it. Yeah. Just a plate. So here we go. Now we'll be able to figure out what's behind Legion. Certain bosses in this game do have elemental weaknesses. Legion is one of them. Legion resists dark and is weak to holy. Claim is holy. Claim is already overpowered to begin with. This is going to be a lightning fight. Ooh, and very nice use of the red Minotaur too. Quickly racking up the damage. Fuse gets his rush soul. Soul in the randomizer, yeah, it's the same way it works in vanilla. So if you defeat all 4 of the pieces around Legion before you defeat the core like this, you'll always get the soul drop. And if you don't, then you'll never get it. That's kind of the gimmick of this fight. Catoblepus, not so good. At least at this point. And soldier uniform. Okay. So not worth it for the loot, but good experience as a consolation prize. Solon is 100% ready to go. For the rest of the game, all he's got to do is find the soul he needs, which is going to be right up here. Oh, actually, I didn't see that before. Did Fuse pick up Ascalon? Looks like it was there in the sauna room in the arena. That one has not so good range, but great strength. That's another good endgame choice. Okay, so here is where I believe the blue book is. I think Fuse understandably saved these checks for last. These do take a while. But here we go. Okay. Book 2. Final Guard. Fuse has got that one. So it's go mode for Fuse. And I'm assuming it's going to be go mode for Solon as well. Yeah, I think chat's right. I think Solon might be looking for the entrance to top floor at this point. Interesting. I think this is the right play. Fuse opting not to go back to the shop. It's just unfortunate because Claim's there. But Fuse has got plenty of great weapons. Solon will have the upper hand once he gets to top floor in terms of the equipment. But Fuse now has a very slight lead. So we're going to see if Solon can make up that difference slowly over the rest of the seed. There are 3 boss fights left. This is the first one here. This is going to focus on the Rush Soul for damage. And were we going to go with Gungnir or Positron? Positron it is. You can see that the Rush Soul did 3 hits of 117 damage a pop, compared to the Positron, which is an excellent weapon, doing 24. So these Rush Souls really are extremely useful. To phase 1 for Graham. Once you deal 1,500 hit points of damage, he'll move on to phase 2, which means you want to equip the final souls that you need before then. Fuse is going to go ahead and throw those on, it seems like. I can't say for sure, but I think Solon is debating how to get to top floor. And that cutscene confirms that the true ending has been unlocked. It's a little bit different if you don't have the relevant souls equipped. So Fuse is locked in his go mode. He's ready to go. All he's got to do is survive the fight, and he'll be moving on to the garden to wrap up the game. He's using a little bit of slide. Earlier there was that decision about, would he keep the slide, would he not? This fight here is one of the 2 fights I think where slide is most useful. Okay, nice. So Solon has found top floor. It's hard to overstate how good Claim is. As soon as he enters Graham's room, he's gonna make up some time. It was a very nice, clean fight from Fuse. Graham's a tough one, so I think that went pretty smooth. We got a couple of checks behind Graham. Oh, some really good stuff. Unfortunately, it's not going to help because Fuse already has Death's Robe, but that green tunic he found, that Elfin Robe, that's the 2nd best intelligence boosting armor. Satan's Ring is also very good, but again, that's kind of an A-tier accessory. Fuse has already got better. So, good stuff, but actually thinking about it more, not so useful for him. But here we go. So I'm guessing Solon's gonna head right into the grand fight. One final check, make sure he's got what he needs. Does Solon not have Final Guard? Well, that could be a clincher. Fuse found it quite a while ago at this point. Where was that? Question in chat, where was Final Guard? I'm thinking about that. I think it might have been the cemetery. Yeah, it was the end of the cemetery. Because I think I remember saying that the area was kind of a bust, right? Or was Final Guard top? Okay, well, we're kind of seeing together that skill I mentioned before, where you've really got to do a good job keeping track of everything to optimize your routing in this rando. A lot of checks to do, a lot of things to keep in mind. Fuse, for example, did a great job taking a nice direct route to the garden. So he's here already. But he's got some great choices for the Julius fight coming up. I expect he'll use Positron and Devil. You can see, you can actually stand outside of Julius's range with the rifle. And a rack up hits. Actually, I think... Wasn't Final Guard Eastern? So Solon might be approaching his final soul. We'll see if this is it, but it's going to be tough to make up the difference. I think if there's any chance for Solon at this point, the Chaos fight, the final fight of the game, is notoriously difficult. I mentioned this earlier among randomizer players. So deaths are not at all uncommon. Chaos can equalize things even if there's a strong lead for one player. So someone's got to hope that this is it here and make a beeline for Graham. Yeah, this song rocks. Because this fight is notoriously difficult. You can imagine how much tougher it is for the randomizer, since levels are a little bit lower typically. Okay, that's where it was. Solon is now in go mode officially. He's good to go. There's a common misconception that Julius is actually weak to dark. That's actually not true. Julius resists holy, but takes neutral damage from dark attacks. However, that does still mean that Solon's going to have to find probably some other way to deal damage, besides attacking with the claim on this Julius fight. Devil's a great choice here. We'll see if he opts for a Rush Soul or something else. But Fuse is getting very close to the end. Slight stutter from Fuse, it seems like. Hopefully that corrects itself. Okay. There were some frame drops earlier, so this is not too surprising. I think we're going to be back soon. Some slideshow action going on. Okay, we're back. There we go. We're back. So that's interesting. There was a check. There are 3 checks in the Chaotic Realm. This right here is the final area of the castle. It's kind of a monochromatic remix of various areas from elsewhere in the castle. And there are 3 checks here. Fuse is electing to skip the first one. I think he's happy with the gear he's got. He's got plenty of healing, great souls, great equipment. I think he's just going to march right on down to the final fight. Meanwhile, on Solon's side, 64 a pop with Claim. Excellent damage, already on to phase 2. Claim is such a large sword, you can actually duck and still hit the core of this phase 2 fight, which is a nice convenience. Yes, this area is locked behind the true ending requirement. So you can play the rest of the game, with the bad ending. But if you want to do the Julius fight and this area and the Chaos fight, these all require unlocking the true ending. So here we go. This is Chaos for Fuse. Chaos is divided into 2 phases. The first one, actually, there's 0 defense for all 3 of the statues that Fuse is going to be fighting. So multi-hit moves are great here. Something like the Positron Rifle will be great here. The Gungnir will be great here. Phase 2, though, is where things get pretty tough. So we'll see how that goes. Want to be concerned about on phase 1 is that dragon attack. Deals a lot of damage. The diamonds are a little bit weaker, and all that yellow one does is drain your MP, which at this point I don't think Fuse is too concerned about. Alright, so if Fuse can first try this, he's going to end up clearing the sub-hour and a half mark, which would be a really good time. Good phase 1, on to phase 2. So this one, it's true to its name, very chaotic. You've got 4 eyes in the 4 corners of the room. For each of those eyes you defeat, the defense of the core drops, that eclipse-looking thing in the center. And that's the real boss. It starts with outrageously high defense, so you want to knock out at least a couple of the eyes. Okay, Fuse showing off the power of the Devil's Soul. And is he going to go for a 2-eye strat, a 3-eye strat, or a 4-eye strat? It's looking like a 2-eye. So I think he's just going to focus on using Arc Demon and rush damage. He just took 1 hit, and his MP bar went from nothing to almost filled up. That's Arc Demon for you. One of the best MP regeneration options in Aria. This, though, is the problem. Combo damage in this fight is very common. It's easy to get knocked around. Here we go again. We got a 3-piece combo. And this is what makes the fight so dangerous, even if you have really good stats and equipment. Death is never too far away. $3,000 HP. I'd say Fuse is a little over halfway done. GG to Fuse, the winner of the return, kind of the first week of these weekly Aria races. So big congrats to him. Overall, I think both runners played the seed very well. These settings are tough. It's easy to get lost. It's easy to die. I think both runners made a lot of really good decisions and some good calls. And yeah, it was really looking like anybody's race there down towards the end. Fuse did pull ahead, but yeah, hopefully everybody enjoyed watching. Well, let me see if I can't do this. Please do follow these runners. Once again, Fuse is the creator of this randomizer. Still working on it, still being updated. New features are being added all the time. Very exciting. And then Solon, he's an OG. He's going to be participating in our July tournament next month. So we'll be seeing a lot more from him as well. Now, I think on Solon's end, we're just looking for Garden at this point. Actually, 1 second, I can post the link to a couple of things here while we're waiting for Solon to head to the garden. If you want to try out this random for yourself, here's the link there at .surge domain. And for those who are interested, we've got a tournament, like I mentioned, coming up next month. And the challenge page just went live earlier today. So let me go ahead and post that as well. This is a very newcomer-friendly rando. It's also got a community that's very eager and willing to help out people get into the rando for the first time. So if you got questions, if you want to try it out casually, definitely recommend it. Where is that link? Here we go. Let me ask if Fuse wants to join us for some post-game commentary. That'd be fun because it would kind of double as, developer commentary. We'll see if he's interested. Okay, he is interested. Nice. Let's get him on board here 1 second. Alright, so it looks like Solon is going to be forfeiting the race, and we're about to bring on Fuse to get some post-game commentary on how he felt like it went.
Hi. I felt like I wasted a bunch of time fairly late on because I was trying to be smart and go around the left side of inner quarters to avoid fighting Valor to be able to check Gollum off, but I couldn't find where that door was.
Yeah, and that made sense. Solon decided to head right into Balor early, and that was a long fight. I think
then
the big. Hey, go ahead.
I had a similar issue with I was trying wanting to check Forbidden Area, but I knew that I couldn't think of any right door that I hadn't been through, and I knew I hadn't found it yet. So I checked the map several times. I'm looking around trying to see if there were any of those transition spots that I had not gone through a right door, and it took me a while to remember that it was down there near the standard flying armor spot.
Well, something I mentioned to chat over the course of the race is that you are, of course, the developer of the new randomizer. Was there anything about this seed in particular that you wanted to highlight in terms of, changes from this rando to the previous one?
I don't know. It was a pretty good seed. This is how it's supposed to work out, I guess. I got nothing more than that, I guess. I don't know.
Well, let's talk, for example, about the shop at the start. That's a brand new feature. How did you feel like the shop went for you? I mean, was there anything early that you noticed kind of changed up your strats, or?
Well, I mean, yeah, there's like a ton of variants there because, like in this case, I got one of those punching weapons or whatever, and there's nothing else of value there. I mean, there's a lot of times you get something really good right off the start, whether it be a weapon or armor, and sometimes you just get nothing. So that could really change up your play in regards if you want to go to some of those tougher areas early, but I don't think that's usually the right play because you got a bit more of a progression anyway, just in regards to like you getting stronger. And you're likely not to get decked out both in like weapons and armor, although it could happen right off the start.
Yeah, honestly, shop sanity has been one of my favorite things to mess around with in the new rando. I feel like, even in this race, early on, both of you took quite a different route in terms of, what you bought at the shop. You, for example, went to the chapel early, whereas Solon did more of a traditional route. I thought that was pretty interesting to watch.
I was cringing as I did the chapel because I was scared I could just run into a dead end there. The left door transitions are always scary. There's 4 different places that I could hit and not be able to get through. There were definitely a couple times though that I was intentionally knowing where I saved and not saving because I was considering, just a significant reset out of an area. But they actually ended up playing out pretty well for me. I did hit a dead end at the end.
Yeah, I thought you made some really good calls. So Hippogriff, I think Hippogriff was in chapel, right?
Yes, it was.
So that ended up working out
Hippogriff
great.
before Malthus. It was an interesting one.
Yeah, rarely seen. Yeah. Okay, well, any final thoughts about the weekly, future weeklies, the rando in general?
Not really. I'm looking forward to watching this back because, especially to see the different routing, like you're saying, Solon took a very different route. So I'd like to see what he did.
Excellent. Okay, well then let me go ahead and plug one more time that if you'd like to follow the runners, including Fuse here, here are the links to their Twitch channels. Also follow me if you like. I stream these games a little bit. And we'll be doing this every week. So we're not sure who the players are going to be next time. But hopefully it's just as good as this race here. So thanks again for joining Fuse.
All right, thank you.
And thanks a lot for Speed Gaming for hosting us. I think I'm going to wrap up there. Take care, everybody.